By this time, the yogis should have understood the existential suffering, somewhat about existential suffering, or suffering of existence. And the reason why it is being dealt with is that is to enable the yogis to exert energy during the few days left in order to cultivate samadhi jnana with the sense of urgency and enthusiasm. In this way, with the sense of urgency, they will be able to exert more energy, step up energy in order to gain samadhi jnana in a unique manner. So by knowing the variety of suffering, existential suffering, one will become afraid of that they are unacceptable and see them as detestable and dangerous. When one can cultivate this jnana, samvega jnana, sense of urgency and enthusiasm, then this will enable the yogis to practice without regard to their body and life, seeing the insecurity of this mind-body. Otherwise, one will just practice casually, and if one exerts energy, Viriya, energy, then there will be some jnana. With some samvega jnana, with a small samvega jnana, there will be small Viriya. If there's much samvega jnana, there will be much Viriya. And only when one is able to exert Viriya, this mindfulness, concentration and panya are bound to arise. So that their benefits of the practice will become obvious after they have gone through this 70 days of practice. So in order to get this advantage, the discourse has been given about the existential suffering in accordance with the Buddha's exposition. This samvega jnana is a compound of samvega and jnana. Samvega, fear; jnana, knowledge. Knowledge accompanied with fear. This fear is not causeless fear, not fear in terms of dosa or negative emotion. It is accompanied with jnana, knowledge, which is skillful, wholesome, kusala. As for dosa, simple dosa, this is akusala. But this fear, which is accompanied with knowledge, is kusala, skillfulness. It is pure and blameless. Fear, seeing fearful things, namely the defects of existence, shortcomings of existence. Once one comes into existence, one is bound to face these existential suffering. One should be prepared. One is to be prepared to face these sufferings, pain, starting from conception in the mother's womb for 10 months. Once one is conceived, jati, of course at that moment there is no dukkha or serious dukkha or unbearable pain, but during the 10 months in the mother's womb one suffers. Due to this conception, jati, bhava jati, one has got to stay 10 months in the mother's womb, and from that time on one faces the endless suffering until death. Just like a mushroom coming out from the ground, from the soil. As it slowly comes up, it carries with it some mud and earth or dust. Nobody has given it, nobody has put it on this mushroom, but it carries with it inherently. So too with the life. Once from the time of this bhavajati conception, though at that time there was no obvious suffering, due to that conception one faces endless suffering throughout one's life. But most people are not aware of that. So this, for those who are aware, for those people who are aware, they are aware of this unacceptable nature, and that such existence is detestable, unacceptable. Even during the 10 months conception in the mother's womb, one can be destroyed either by the mother, being aborted by the mother. In some countries, because they limit the population, and also they want only sons and not daughters, then when they find out that the mother has conceived a daughter through this examination, then the child is aborted, even in the mother's womb. So before one comes out as a human being, one is destroyed, bad karma. So there are many things, and we have to talk about it. It will take about 1 hour. And then when once one comes into existence in the human world, one is bound to face this existential suffering of aging, sickness and death. Like this mushroom. When it comes up from the ground, it carries with it, nobody has put it, the earth, some dust and mud. So too, once one is born, one comes into existence, one brings with one inherently this nature or this suffering of aging, sickness and death. So one has to be prepared to face these. Even if one wishes not to get old, to stay young, one gets old. Even if one does not wish to get sick, to feel sick, one gets sick for some reason or other. Even if one wishes to live, one dies at last, either through some diseases or at least one at old age, when one's lifespan is spent up, then one dies with old age. So these are the consequences of bhavajati, the rebirth consciousness of rebirth in existence. And this shows that one cannot get what one wants. This is suffering. If one cannot get what one wants, or things do not happen as one wishes, then this is suffering. That's such as when one is reborn as a human being, slowly one gets old. That also is, although one wishes to stay young, one cannot get what one wishes. That is suffering. One wants to be healthy all the time, but one gets sick for some reason or other. This again is not getting what one wants. And due to many causes, one dies, although one does not wish to die. One wishes to live, and this again is not getting what one wants. One wishes to live in peace, but cannot live in peace. So this is suffering. Suffering because one cannot get what one wishes, or things do not happen according to one's desires. So one has got to face these difficulties and suffering. For some people, they have a sense of urgency, become enthusiastic, and they perform kusala deeds in their own right. But since these kusala deeds are not enough to cause liberation from suffering, total liberation from suffering, or self-salvation, one is again reborn in one of these existences, and then to face this existential suffering of aging, sickness and death again. For as a result of this bad attitude, if one commits wrong thought, word and deed, then one is bound to fall into the states of loss, known as apaya, such as helldom, animaldom, and so on. So there are these 8 causes for sense of urgency and enthusiasm, namely jati, that's rebirth, jara, aging, vyadi, sickness, marana, death, and the 4 apaya, states of loss. So this kind of fear, samvega, has to be accompanied with knowledge. Knowledge about the existential suffering of existence. And this is skillful deeds, not unskillful deed. A skillful mental state. This fear, this kind of fear, which is accompanied with knowledge, is a skillful mental state. Skillful because the fear is a fear about the existential suffering, knowing the suffering of existence, that is knowledge, hence samvega. These 8 causes of samvega are not known now. It has been known long time ago. It has been experienced from time immemorial. Atita, we have experienced, we have known this, we have come across these causes of samvega. As much as we have experienced in the past and also present, we'll be experiencing in future. So long as we are not able to be free from this existence, and so long as we are not able to cultivate this samvega jnana, we perform deeds thinking that they are good, with attachment, and if we do good deeds, we are reborn in good destinies. If we do bad deeds with bad attitude, then we reach the evil destinies. So in this way, if we look back at the past and also look forward to the future, they are all sufferings without limit. So in this way, this suffering has been with us from the past immemorial times, now and also in future, continuously. Even in this life, one is facing suffering. One has to earn one's livelihood for oneself and one's family and relatives. Thinking that they are good, we have to work hard. And sometimes, although we work hard, thinking that we'll get good result, we end up with bad result. And this earning also has to be done day and night without rest. Of course, there is short rest at night when you sleep. Sometimes you cannot sleep even. There are many times. So in this way, you have to a lot of anxiety, physical anxiety, mental anxiety, physical weariness, mental weariness. Being occupied with daily affairs, daily chores, due to the stress and complexities of life, leading to many human social problems such as madness, suicide, and so on. So in this way, there's a lot of physical and mental suffering day and night. And if we think about, reflect upon these 8 causes of samvega, then we see the shortcomings of the life, of existence, and this is fear accompanied with knowledge. This kind of fear is wholesome mental state, not unwholesome mental state. It is kusala, because it is accompanied with knowledge about the suffering of existence. So that with this samvega, we will look for a way out of this suffering. namely the practice of the higher training of the mind, just like this practice of Satipatthana. One would be led to practice this Satipatthana without regard to one's body and life, to successful conclusion. Buddha has given this instruction, has propounded the Samvega Jnana with the practice of to cultivate Samvega Jnana with the exertion of energy in different stages, in 3 stages. First of all, the initial launching energy, and then the energy, stepped up energy to overcome sluggishness, slackness, laxity, and difficult situations, and lastly, the stages of energy to realize the goal. So in this way, one will overcome, with the practice of energy, one will overcome the difficult situations and be able to cultivate sati samadhi. But he cannot pull you out of this situation. You have to do it by yourself. He can only show the way. He only shows the way, the method. As for the majority of beings, not seeing the shortcomings of existence, the suffering of existence, and esteeming their existence, their life, thinking that good things are bound to come, they are bound to gain good things. So with this expectation, they perform deeds. But this life has no guarantee, no security, and in this way they spend their life with existential suffering. Like the story of this villager, a native villager who is staying in his native village. This village is a lot of danger, it's very harmful, dangerous, and also a shortage of food. There's a shortage of food in this village, and other things, of course. This is not a very conducive place, not a good place to live, but still, since he has no general knowledge, no knowledge about the existence of better places, he's attached to his native place, native village, and so he doesn't want to leave that village, however much his village is poor. So because he is attached to his native place. And also if he is worried that if he leaves his village and go elsewhere, he might suffer more. And this will be just an adventure, and he's not sure of the results of this adventure. So, not seeing the defects of his own native village and not knowing the existence of better places, he stays put. So, when somebody comes and tells him that your village is very poor, there's a lot of suffering, danger, and there is another village or big village or town which is better than yours, is peaceful, a lot of food, and free from harm, and is a very peaceful village and good village, prosperous village. So in this way, somebody comes and tells him or her. So once he or she sees the reality of his or her village, and also knows about the existence of another village which is better than his or hers, then he or she will strive to his or her best, exerting the energy, especially this stepped up energy to overcome difficulties, with the heroic energy. So too with the existential suffering. If the Buddha, with compassionate feeling, has shown, propounded the discourses describing the existential suffering. In order to cause samvega, sense of urgency, enthusiasm in the beings, showing the suffering of existence, that such sufferings are unacceptable, detestable, and so one should cultivate samvega jnana. In this way, the Buddha propounded the discourses. Not only that, he also shows methods to practice in order to cultivate sati, samadhi, panya, in order to realize, cultivate minor insight and realize the state of existence which is good in itself and which is security, which is peaceful and free from harm, namely the peace of nibbana. So in this way, the Buddha shows the way, gives instructions in order to cultivate his samvega jnana. Once one possesses this samvega jnana, then one will take risk, all-out risk, in order to leave this insecure life or existence, state, with heroic energy, and practice with full force, energetically, look for the secure place which has security. And these 8 causes for samvega is the nearest cause for such departure, for such effort, energy with full force, such departure from the insecure place to realize or to attain the secure happiness. This samvega jnana is the approximate cause for the exertion of energy, heroic energy. As I said, viranam bhavo viriyam. The state of heroic energy is Viriya. This heroic energy, the heroism, with heroism to take risk, to leave this insecure place, insecure state, exerting energy, renewed energy, in order to realize the secure happiness, or secure place with secure happiness. And this state of heroism is what is called Viriya. So, one who possesses this Viriya will have enough heroism, enough heroic energy to leave this insecure state, and also renewed energy in order to attain a secure state. By exerting the Viriya in 3 stages, the initial launching energy, the stepped-up energy to overcome difficulties or sluggishness, and the successive energy in order to realize the goal. So, this kind of person who has this kind of Viriya will only have enough heroism to leave or to forego this insecure state, or leave the insecure existence, and exert heroic energy to attain a secure state. So this state of heroism is what is called Viriya. The samvega jnana is the approximate cause of heroic energy. So in this way, the qualities of energy becomes obvious. First of all, we have this sabhava lakkhana, natural characteristic. It's given in this expression as usaha lakkhana viriyam. Now, Viriya is called as such because one exerts with gritted teeth, or gritted teeth, which is better, to bear any eventualities. It may even be physical suffering, excruciating suffering, or even death, in striving to attain the secure place instead of staying in an insecure place, having this heroic energy. One has enough energy to risk leaving the insecure place in order to attain a secure happiness. For that, one will face any eventuality with gritted teeth or grin teeth. One can bear any eventualities. So when you are bearing these difficult, excruciating pain, sometimes you grit or grin your teeth, isn't it? So that's what it is. Even if you don't grit your teeth, this can be considered as just an example. So this usaha u means this the energy, being able to bear this energy, whether for small matter or large matter. If one comes to face this physical suffering, one has got to invest this suffering. Make an investment of small suffering, insignificant suffering. This suffering that you endure, that you experience in the course of the practice is nothing, insignificant, not compared to the big suffering, enormous suffering that you will get if you don't exert energy. If you have no samvega jnana, if you're not afraid of existential suffering. So fearful of that suffering, fearful of that enormous suffering, you invest, or you just bear it, bear the insignificant suffering, such as aching, numbness, slight pain, physical pain, which is actually insignificant compared to the big suffering that you will get if you don't exert your energy. So, in this way, you sahana is gritting, bearing with gritted teeth. The suffering that you bear with gritted teeth, that is what is meant by usaha. And this viriya is that kind of, it possesses this kind of natural characteristic, that whenever you face any eventualities, you bear at the risk of your body and life. You're not afraid of physical pain. You're not afraid of meeting death or dying. Even if you die, so what? It is a noble death. So this is the sabhava lakkhana, natural characteristic of viriya energy. This is because you are afraid, because you have this fear, a fear which is accompanied with knowledge, samvega jnana, as a cause for this viriya. And it has the natural characteristic of bearing any eventuality with gritted teeth or grin teeth. So while in the course of this bearing and in the course of this struggle with the difficult situations, eventualities, pain and so on, physical pain, mental distress, and in the course of this struggle, and one bears this suffering with gritted teeth or gritted teeth, because this is a very important stage, a crisis. One may call it a crisis, because one has not realized this samadhi jnana as yet. One has not ripened or matured the samadhi jnana. Before that, one suffers physical pain, excruciating, unbearable physical pain. When such a situation arises, then the mind tends to become exhausted. becomes wearied, will not wish to continue with the practice, wants to surrender. Although initially one has exerted heroic energy in the beginning, but one has overcome this tina, out of this tina meda, sloth. One overcomes sloth by being able to initiate heroic energy in the beginning. However, later one gets exhausted mentally. Energy goes down. The mind becomes what we call this slimy, viscous, or like a jelly, not free-flowing. Because in the body are these unbearable situations. One cannot overcome it. The mind tends to become slack. So at that time, the associated mental states which accompany this Viriya. Viriya itself is one mental state. And there are other mental states which accompany Viriya in the consciousness. They are friends, associated mental states, accompaniments. They also tend to become slack. So when these associated mental states become slack, this Viriya has the function of supporting these slack mental states. Hence this expression Upatambana Rasa, the function of supporting or propping up. Just like when a house or building is about to collapse, one should prop it up so that it won't fall down so quickly, and unless you are able to pull it down and put up a new building. If you cannot afford that, then you have to prop it up, support it with some strong pillars and so on. So in this way also, the energy, Viriya, this mental state, has the function of propping up these associated mental states, which have become very wearied, become slack, so as to overcome these difficult situations, to vitalize these mental states in order to reach the desired goal. So in this way, Viriya, or this energy, has the function of propping up or supporting, the supporting function. Once this natural characteristics of our lakkhana, of Viriya, becomes obvious, then this function of Viriya also will become obvious. Due to this supporting function of Viriya, the associated mental states become energetic and lively, active, so that with the exertion of energy, the noting mind is directed towards the object of observation. There will be no tina, not wishing to exert energy. There is no such thing as not wishing to exert energy, which is tina, and meda, exhaustion of energy. All these things will be overcome, warded off with the application of energy. Like propping up this old wretched building, the associated mental states become energized, they are vitalized, become active, wakeful. Such as this Vitakka, one of the associated mental states, Vitakka, the aiming or attention is applied, is energized, so that the noting mind becomes concurrent with the object. The noting mind is connected with the object of observation. And then another mental state, vichara, power of sustaining. The noting mind will be sustained as much as it is connected. It will be sustained on the object of observation, or hitting, literally speaking, hitting the object. If you throw, it will hit the object, just like hitting the target. So vichara, the noting mind will be sustained on the object of observation. As much as it is sustained on the object of observation, you become free of these hindrances, giving rise to feeling of rapture, piti, sometimes minor piti, leading to powerful rapturous feeling. So that in place of this excruciating suffering in the body, there will be this pleasant sensation as a result of this piti. And being able to cultivate this sati, samadhi, and jnana, all these things will become energized. They will rise, they will come up, they will become very obvious. The reason is the supporting power of Viriya. By energizing or vitalizing these associated mental states, so that they become wakeful, energetic, and become forceful. Especially when one faces this difficult situation, one boosts up this energy, heroic energy, so as to overcome these difficult situations. This will become one's own personal experience. First, I thought I wouldn't be able to overcome this situation. Now I can do it. Very easy, isn't it? That sort of thing. One becomes very satisfied with one's own energy, so that one becomes more and more heroic, wishes to exert more and more energy, and take risks, even to the extent of challenging any eventualities. Let the pain come. I will note it and overcome it, that sort of thing. So, in this way, the Viriya becomes very energetic and heroic, and as much as the Viriya becomes heroic, the faith also will arise by leaps and bounds. Saddha will arise. Acceptance, power of acceptance, quality of acceptance, resolution, leading to enthusiasm to undertake the practice. And with the enthusiasm, one will exert more energy. So that kind of energy becomes arada viriya, sustained or ongoing energy. Because one has already initiated the energy, there's already this initial energy exerted. And this one is ongoing or sustained energy going on its own course, without having any necessity to start it, because it has already started. And the Viriya is going on in a sustained way. You don't have to exert extra energy, because you have done it in an initial way. Only thing is you just let it go on. And this Viriya is also known as Pegahita Viriya. Pegahita Viriya means the kind of energy in lifting up something, in lifting up something, the material, one will not go down. At the same time, one will not stay in a transit, stationary in a transit. Instead, one will just go up and up. That is what is meant by this Pegahita Viriya, uplifting energy. Until at last, the Viriya gains momentum, reaching the fulfillment of the Viriya, known as Paripurna Viriya, fulfilling energy. So once one is doing this uplifting energy, Pegahita Viriya, yogi knows by himself or herself that I will not give in, or I will not give up this practice. I will not flinch from this practice. With this, one begins to possess this heroic energy in order to overcome any eventualities. Unflinching it becomes manifested in one's mind that one will exert unflinching energy in order not to give up. So that kind of manifestation is another quality of Viriya known as Asamsirana Pachipatana, the manifestation of unflinching, the state of unflinching. This we have described This Tina Meda, sloth and torpor, not wishing to exert energy, and even if we exert energy initially, one gets exhausted, wearied, the mind becomes viscous, and there is a Tina Meda, and this in one word is described as kosaja, sluggishness, laziness, or laid back, not wishing to exert energy and getting exhausted very soon. Instead of instead of exerting energy at the risk of one's body and life, one gets exhausted. This is kosaja, which is despicable, unacceptable. So this Viriya overcomes this kosaja, is the reverse of kosaja. So this unflinching state of mind becomes manifested in the yogi's mind at this stage. Hence this quality of Viriya. The nature of human being is when he or she encounters difficult situations, he or she tends to flinch back with the loss of courage. Then one will not wish to advance, go forward, not exert energy, so that one will not overcome difficult situations and overcome also the hindrances. One will only wish to surrender. That is, such is the nature. So, while one is exerting this initial energy, if one does not wish to exert energy, one does not possess heroism, then this is cowardliness. This is the reverse of heroism. And also, if one does not wish to exert initial energy, one is said to be cowardly. And also, in the transit, in the course of the practice, one would not wish to exert step up energy to realize the goal. Then also, one will not gain the benefit of Viriya, so that one will not become satisfied with oneself. So only when one is fulfilled with these three stages of energy, or exert three stages of energy, one is bound to gain insight, penetrating insight, until one ripens and matures this insight knowledge and gain the secure peace and happiness with path consciousness. So one has got to strive towards that goal. So the root cause of this success lies in the energy, the exertion of heroic energy, all the time, constantly, consistent energy. So, as much as one is able to exert this heroic energy, one is bound to progress in this insight knowledge. Hence, it is in the Vipassana maxim, it is said that as one's heroic energy is strong, is powerful, then one's vision, that is vision of knowledge and vision, is bound to progress. Viriya leads to progress of knowledge and vision. So that means the corollary to this is, if one does not exert energy, ongoing energy, initial energy, ongoing energy, sustained energy, and energy to reach the goal, then one will not progress in one's knowledge and vision. Even if one gains some vision, knowledge and vision, such knowledge and vision will be weak and not be strong enough, not be powerful enough. Therefore, with the practice of Viriya, one is bound to strengthen this vision and knowledge. So, it is quite obvious that if one practices Viriya in three stages, one is bound to realize the goal, and if one cannot practice exert energy, then one will not be able to realize one's goal. Understanding this, understanding the dangers and the suffering of existence, may you all be able to practice with the exertion of energy, which is the cause, which is the result of this samaganyana, and with the practice with the exertion of energy and progressing through the insight knowledge, realize the genuine peace of Nibbana with path consciousness. 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 Consciousness.